Today I'm putting Strava head-to-head with Garmin Connect on a feature they've both rolled out in the last few weeks. Now I'm talking about these data overlays right here. Now they're not groundbreakingly new, they've been around for a while on other platforms, but both Garmin and Strava have rolled out their own versions just recently. Today I dig into which implementation is better and which implementation is, well, on that note, let's have a look at how Strava have done it. Now Strava's implementation of this they call StatMaps. It's available on mobile and web. And the data overlays are only on the feed preview map. So if you drill down into any analytics or the bigger maps, the full screen maps, you're not going to get these overlays. You need to use hashtags to enable them in either the title or description of the activity. And there are 8 of these things to remember. So we have pace map, speed map, heart rate map, elevation map, gradient map, power map, time map, and temperature map. They're not zoomable, so you can't really dive in and have a look at the data at a close level, but you can use your browser's zoom function. That's still not Strava. They're not clickable, there's no legend, so you have to reference their support site to know what's going on with what's being shown on screen. It's for Strava subscribers only, and you have to remember all of those hashtags. Okay, pulling up my full Strava feed here, and we'll scroll down and see if anybody has... Wow. That's a little unfortunate. Nobody I follow is... Anyhow, I have used a few myself, so I'll pull up just my activities and we can see what's going on. So first up should be the Llama lab test from today. I've put hashtag PowerMap in the description and you can see there, things go purple. What does the purple mean? I don't know. I'll have to go over to Strava and reference what that actually means. But we can see on the screen there, if I click on the map, I'll just show you that it doesn't show up anywhere else. So if you go to the full breakdown there, it's just the same red color. So it just beautifies them on the front page. That is all. I'll show you a few others. That was power map. Scrolling down, we have heart rate map. Using the web browser zoom there. Not a lot changes on the heart rate map there. Speed map. Zooming in there on Zwift, up and down the hills. I have time map, where as time ticks by, the line gets a little darker. Okay. But unfortunately, Magpie map doesn't work yet. So Strava might have to put that in Strava Labs. Temperature map, this is an interesting one here the other day on this ride, and we will look at this ride in Garmin Connect, this ride in particular, because there was a lot of variance in elevation, power, speed, and everything else on this ride. And you can see here a lot of variation in the temperature. So a little hot, but it looks a little weird, and I'll explain why in a moment. That doesn't look quite right because it's a little bit of out and back on that course. And we can see on the mobile version of that exactly the same thing happens because the feeds are pretty much one for one. So jumping in here, I go over to just my activities and I'm getting the photos first. So if I scroll across, you can see there's the power map. Scroll across there's the heart rate map. Not much change there. No magpies. The classic loop there with the temperature. And if we click on that to get a little bit more info, we get absolutely no change at all. So that's what Strava have done on both web and mobile. For me, well, it gives the map a little bit more flavor, a little bit more information there on the screen, brings it to life, so to speak, but it really feels half-baked. It's clunky. It's kind of what I would call a hidden feature. It just needs a little bit more polish, especially if it's going to be for subscribers. Now over to the Garmin Connect implementation of this, and it's available for both web and mobile. It's on the overlays for the preview maps and the full maps if you want to drill down and have a look at the data there. You simply just need to click to apply, change or remove the overlay, so no need to remember hashtags for this one. You get 4 stat maps or GAR maps or whatever they want to call them. You get power, speed, heart rate and elevation. They are zoomable. There is a legend on the map so you know what you're looking at, although there's no legend when you blow the map up and have it in full screen, and it's free. Well, technically free. You've got to have a Garmin Connect account. Okay, onto some hands-on with the Garmin implementation of these stat maps. Let's call them GAR maps for lack of a better term. And it's just simply click and change. That's power with the legend down the bottom there too. Click and speed, and click and heart rate, and click and elevation. Looks good to me, and we can verify that by rolling the mouse along the bottom there and seeing that that was one of the high points here, dropping down through Buninyong, back up the hill and into that 39 km/h wind. That was absolutely horrific, but that does give us an indication of what was going on that ride. So I'd probably use power, so I know where I'm putting the power out. And if we dive down here into the hill, you can see there up this hill here is where I was putting out most power, and then down the descent here, I wasn't doing too much work at all. Okay, pulling up the mobile version of this on Garmin Connect, and you can see here the map shows what's going on with the legend on there at the same time, and we can dive into here, we can zoom, we can scroll, and we can see what's going on. And if we want to change what that's about, top corner, change that to speed, and you can see how much I was struggling right there into that brutal headwind, one of the slowest parts of the course. But you can see there the implementation there, and my ability to scroll around and grab the information I'm after and make use of these colors is so much easier there on the Garmin version. The biggest issue faced with overlaying data like this is out and back courses or looped courses where you're doing multiple loops and there's data building on top of each other. It just doesn't display correctly at all. And a certain section of this route just here, if I dig in, I know there's a hill climb. So you can see here, it looks like I was working very easily there, so less power down the hill, because I know I was heading that way. But zooming in, I was working pretty damn hard right there up the hill. But you don't see that though, because what happens is the newer data gets overlaid on top of the older data if it's an out and back course. I'd go as far as saying it's kind of useless for some metrics for out and back or looped courses. So now we've had an overview of the web and mobile implementations of these StatMaps or GarMaps or whatever you want to call them, the overlays of this GPS data. I guess the question remains, is this useful? I really don't think so. It just makes your maps look a little prettier. So who did it better? Well, in my eyes, it's Garmin all the way. It's just so much easier on Garmin Connect to point and click and apply those overlays, or remove them if you don't like them. If you want to analyze and zoom into the details on the map, well, Garmin's the only option there too. Even with only half the overlay options, Garmin's implementation is a clear winner at this point. But having said that, there's absolutely nothing stopping Strava from adding drop-down boxes to select the overlay that you want, showing the overlays in all the maps, not just the preview pane, and adding a legend to the maps so people know what they're looking at. I think if they're going to do the same thing as other platforms, that's absolutely cool. If you're going to copy though, just do it a little bit better, especially when it comes to paid subscribers. So leaving it there for today. Hopefully you've enjoyed this one and a bit of insight on what both those companies are doing. Very similar, very different, but I think one really needs to pull their socks up a little bit. As always, if you like this one, give it a thumbs up. Leave your comments below. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Thanks for watching.